Hey everybody, it's Colette Baron-Reid and my fabulous partner here, Debra Silverman. And we are here to do stars and cards for 2023. I'm super excited about this because actually Deb and I are getting together to create the course for Hay House 2023. Going to maybe be out 2024, but anyhow, we are going to be doing a really interesting overview of 2023 for all the signs. So Deb is going to start. She's going to do the stars. I'm going to do the cards, and we are going to have a party.
I'm so excited about having a party with Colette Baron-Reid because it's nobody better to have a party with somebody with 4 planets and in Leo. Okay.
Woo!
Woohoo! And by the way, as you can see, my moon's in Aries right behind my head. Okay, so should we begin? Here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to give you the overview of the sign. I'm going to speak specifically to some signs like based on your birth date. And so when you finish watching this, you're going to want to fast forward to your sign to get the cards from Colette and to get the information from Debra. So just to let you know, it's going to be a long video, but you can certainly short circuit it by watching just the one that's relevant to you and your kid and your husband. You get it.
Right,
okay.
Perfect.
We're starting with Aries. Aries, this is such an exciting 2023. The first 5 months of the year, you're going to have Jupiter in Aries until May 16th. What does that mean? Jupiter is 100 times the size of Earth, literally. It's the one that we look up and we go, whoa, because it's so bright. And it's the benevolent planet of joy and delight. So if you are born between April 9th and 15th, you're going to feel it really strong. But it's going to happen for the whole year. So let's just go there. Not the whole year. Back that up. It's going to happen for those first 5 months up until May 16th. There is an eclipse in Libra on October 14th, and people born April 9th to 15th, we'll talk more about the eclipse, you're going to really feel that effect. And what the conversation is you have to be really honest about yourself and how you're dealing with the Aries conversation of, am I doing independence too much? Am I really partnering? That's the conversation for Aries throughout this year. And the total eclipse, April 20th, those born April 17th to 23rd, you're really going to feel the strength of making a marker that this year you can make a difference in your world. The solar eclipse for people born April 9th to 15th is also going to be felt. That one is on October 14th. And the short answer is anyone born between April 15th and 21st, Pluto is going to square you. So this is the last time this is going to happen. Anybody born between April 15th and I'm going to say 21st. Pluto is a very slow moving planet, and it's going to be in contrast. Once again, asking the question, it worked though this time. How much independence am I displaying? How much partnership am I participating with? Because Aries' issue this life, particularly this year, is you're going to be so full of energy you could get carried away, which is one of the Aries personality traits, where they start getting bossy or they get super direct. And so I want to ask the question for this year, Aries, am I partnering with all my enthusiasm, or am I just running full on and getting in trouble?
Wow, now this is so interesting because the cards that I chose, I mean, you can't make this up, gives us an understanding of what an Aries personality might need to do in order to answer that question. So the first card is mending, and it relates to the level of difficulty in partnership, where one might need to make amends, or one might be carrying on resentments of the past, or having created behavior patterns that are not conducive to partnering, for example. So we want to heal that. So this is a great year for Aries to heal around the issue of too much independence and sometimes not unhealthy partnering, right? So it's kind of like one-sided. The round and round card follows that in that story, which is you get a chance because you're going to be offered an opportunity to take a look at this. So actually partnerships are going to come up for you. How do you partner? In what capacity? And if you're going too fast, the time for a nap card very clearly says you need to slow down this year. So as much as Aries has a ton of enthusiasm and energy, if you are going to really address the needs for partnership and look at the type of or the quality of independence that you have, right? That's this year. you have to slow down to appreciate it.
I
So
love that so much.
otherwise, you're going to get hit in the head by something from the past that you weren't expecting. So there's going to be some of that if you haven't done the work. So this is really, really, because what is the end game? The end game is healthy, really healthy independence and that pioneering spirit of the Aries and the I am, but also the quality, like really positive quality of partnering that may not come as naturally to that Aries than it needs to now in this new emergence of our human psyche, if you will, because we're all emerging into a new version of ourselves. How's that?
That's very powerful. And because the eclipse, there's one in Aries in April and there's one in Libra in October, Aries really has an opportunity this year to make a big difference in how they partner.
Yeah, and a positive difference, really positive difference too, without losing their independence. So there's no enmeshment here, right? There's none of that there. This is a
Right,
really,
quite the
I can
opposite.
be, right, I can be me, but I can also be with you and benefit from this. It's like learning how to do that this year for
And I would
Aries.
just say the short answer, because I know Colette's married to one, is if the Aries
I
are
am.
willing to ask the question, how are we doing? Throughout this year, you want to
Yeah.
stay aware of your partner and just ask the partner, how are we doing? Check in, because typically Aries just goes. But that take a nap,
Right.
slow it down,
Yeah.
self-reflection, go in the circle, review. Great one. Okay.
Yeah, it is about reviewing. Exactly. It's like one
So
big long
perfect. You
Mercury
can't make this
retrograde.
shit up.
No, you
Okay.
can't.
Okay.
Next.
So Uranus, I like saying it, it's just the funniest name. Uranus is in Taurus, and specifically people born by May, this is a big window, May 2nd to 17th, between 14 and 22 degrees of Taurus. That's where Uranus is going to be hanging out. And what does Uranus talk about? So Uranus talks about electrical charge that radically makes you go, whoa, like it's a wake-up call for Tauruses, which is not their favorite thing. Taurus likes stability and repetition and consistency. So if you're born from May 2nd to 17th, you're going to have some opportunity to actually pay attention to change. Now here's the cool thing. Jupiter, starting in May, when it leaves 17th of May, when it leaves Aries, it enters Taurus. So you're going to have in May, from May all the way through August, you have this opportunity for expansion, Taurus. So things are changing. They're asking for opportunities. They're saying to you, expand. Don't be so conservative. And it's one of your hard things. So it goes all the way. Get this. I said August, but it's actually retrograding in September, and then it goes back into Taurus. So Jupiter's in Taurus from May 17th all the way through the new year. And you're really going to have a chance with Jupiter saying to Taurus, let's expand. And then Uranus saying for those few people, let's shake it up. You've got opportunity for a first time in a long time. And it's really, and there is you want to write this down, May 5th, there is a eclipse that's going to be felt strongly by anybody born May 2nd to 8th. And that's going to be in Scorpio, so it's affecting Taurus. And then there's a partial eclipse October 28th affecting anyone born April 23rd to 29th. So it's when those eclipses happen and we're having this funny conversation about expansion, Jupiter's in Taurus, I feel so abundant. And then Uranus comes in and you're like, expand, but feel a little unnerved. I don't like that combo. What are you going to say, Colette, to that?
Well, my cards are talking about a change after chaos that becomes comfortable, right? So, yeah, so there's a comfort.
Uranus is the word chaos.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
But Jupiter's comfort.
Here's what's really interesting too is the opportunity for Tauruses to actually tell the truth to themselves about how they cling on to their comfort zones and resist change.
Exactly.
And then get a chance to learn how to breathe, and they actually can expand their capacity, which is about that's what the card, the breathe, is all about. It's the unfinished symphony as well too, saying, listen, Taurus, you've rested on your laurels for a while. We know you like, what you know, but guess what? The symphony keeps going, and you need to keep playing those instruments, and you have to keep writing that music. And even though there is some chaos in this, and specifically for those people that have those dates that, Debra, you're going to want to, listen back to this, for all Tauruses in 2023, the opportunity is to get radically honest with yourself about both your resistance to change and actually how you might not be so against it by the end of the year, right? It's
Especially,
like,
yes.
the welcoming quality of change when you become the person you always wanted to instead of sitting there going, "Why aren't I?" Right? There's a
Exactly.
lot of great opportunity for the kind of expansion, though, that's manageable for the Taurus. It's at first, it feels really unmanageable. It's like, "I don't like it." Right? And then it's like, "Oh, I can do this. I've learned to breathe, and then I can be honest with myself, and I tell myself new truths. More gets revealed."
And I was going to say, you could use this mantra while Jupiter's in Taurus is I deserve, I'm learning to receive, I feel worthy. You need that to get comfortable with your discomfort.
Yeah, to be comfortable with the discomfort, which doesn't last. And it does come in, it kind of comes and then you get relaxed and all of a sudden it comes again. So I don't know if that makes sense if Uranus kind of comes and goes in and out.
To echo what you've said, the people that resist change while Jupiter
Right.
comes to get them, you want to really pay attention to that. So that's what the value of doing this right now is saying, receive, open, expand. Don't, if you resist, and be honest about it. But I'm telling you, this only happens once every 12 years that Jupiter goes into Taurus.
I think it's very juicy if you stop resisting. It's kind of like, okay, why am I resisting this? It doesn't even matter. The why is not even important. It's an old pattern. It's like be open, but breathe through it. It's like this very much all about the breathing, if you will. It's like the sense of I can be grounded and allow myself to expand without being overindulgent.
Everything you desire this year exists on the other side of your discomfort. That's literally what I wrote down.
Right. Ah, high five.
We are so good at this game. So please enjoy Taurus. You're in for a wonderful from May on.
Yeah.
It's just a
Nice.
really and it only happens once every 12 years, and you can think about moving or changing the things you hate.
All the things that you
Okay.
don't like, you can do, but you can do it.
Of course you can, and you've got the opportunity with this increased energy of Jupiter. It's only once every 12 years he's in Taurus. Okay, Geminis. Now I'm singing the song to myself because I don't know if we talked about this yet. Saturn is entering Pisces for the first time in 30 years. So it's been in Aquarius for the last 2.5 years, serving all the air signs, Gemini, Libras, and Aquarians. Well, Saturn is entering Pisces, and it's going to be felt as early as March. So people born from May 21st till June 1st are going to feel it the most. Early Geminis. That would be me. And what you want to be aware of when Saturn comes to square you, sounds funny. Saturn in Pisces doesn't get along with Gemini. Why? Because the life lesson for the next 2 years for the collective with Saturn in Pisces is we have to start feeling. And we've been detached for the last 2.5 years. Talk about climate change, talk about the topics of astrology we're studying, but now we want to delve in. These next 2.5 years for Colette and I and our students, you're going to love this because the emotional body is coming to get mastered or not. Geminis hate emotional stuff, but this is really what's up for Gemini to deal with. So Saturn in Pisces squares early Gemini, peaking at 7 degrees in June. So what I'm going to say is anybody born May 21st through June 1st, which is early degree Gemini, you're going to feel throughout the next year like life is saying to you, here's what they're saying, feel your feelings. You're like, ooh. They're saying, get a little discipline over all your ideas. Ooh. Keep yourself on task. Ooh. Like things that Geminis don't like. So if you stay the course, if you're willing to be aware that during this next year, 2023, Saturn is asking you for discipline and focus, not a problem. But if it wasn't aware, if you didn't watch this video, Geminis are like, I just feel funny. I feel like something's not as easy as it was the last 2.5. So there you go.
So what's also interesting, again, what we're looking at is an umbrella of energy. That's what Deb and I are talking about. The stars are fixed. This is what is happening. And the cards are basically saying, here's another flavor to think about why is it going to be like that and how do you manage this or navigate it? And it's interesting that we got building blocks as a center card, which is the only card that relates to Saturn. So it is, yeah. So it's giving you structure. And it actually gives you a really nice fluid container to feel your feelings in. So even though at first it feels very like, feels unnatural, it actually allows you to build a different type of container for emotions. And this is for Geminis, right? Does this make sense to you, Deb? Being
Yes,
the
it gives
Gemini
you a
person?
chance to be
Yeah.
more willing to feel your feelings is another way to say that.
Yeah. but also not that you won't be swept away by them. And that's what this is about, the discipline of allowing, right? The discipline of recognizing when you're enlisted into this, when you didn't choose it, and then to say, you know what, I do feel that there is some structure here. And what's interesting is, where does the structure come from? It comes from asking for help. So this is also something a little not that comfortable for Geminis, but when you know that help is there, it's like, you know, you're being told this is not going to be comfortable, but it's really essential. So we're going to send you people to help you. Right. And it's going to help balance out the discomfort. So even though, and I'm going to say, I know that you said something about June, but it's before June where this already starts to
It's
set
true.
in, right?
It starts as early as January. That was kind of a boo-boo.
Yeah.
It's peaking, but it starts in January and it lasts all through the whole year.
And you feel it. You're going to feel it. But here's the other piece. This is a big issue around fairness, right? Around something being fair, and balanced, et cetera. And maybe that's more Libra, but this is really going to be on tap for Geminis. And to recognize that you can, through feeling your feelings, you can contribute to the balance of you don't have to be out of balance. It actually will bring you back in a little bit into balance, so you're not so flighty, and you actually have to slow down to feel your feelings.
Well,
Go
I
ahead.
think that's where the therapist comes in. I think for Gemini
Yes.
during this year to ask for
We
help.
should all go to therapy.
I'm not kidding. Like, you need to be able to speak out loud what the issues are you're dealing with, because without the
Yeah.
help, it feels spinny and like you're going off. So it's okay to go off if you're going to get help, because you're going to learn something.
Even journaling, or making sure that you have that you've got structure. So that's what Saturn is. Saturn's about structure. It's not comfortable. It's, you know, we know it's changing signs. It's going to Pisces. It's asking us to feel our feelings. But at the same time, we're looking at, okay, so what kind of a commitment can the Gemini do all year long to help you manage this? So the help is in the pen. The help is in a therapist. The help is in a small group of really good friends that you trust. The help is in the speaking and the sharing and the communicating, but also knowing that you will not float away, right here.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
these feelings are not going to completely overwhelm you. But if you put your head in the sand, or if you're refusing it, it's like feeling like you're being blown around in the wind.
And not being able to get things done. That would be the worst
Yeah.
thing for the Geminis. Too many things happened. You got blown in
Right.
the wind. And what we're
Blown
suggesting is,
around.
and if you're going to write in a journal, Gemini, you have to read what you've written out loud. Don't just write it and put it away. Start listening to yourself. Because if you're in a tense attention or a tense era, what better way to learn than by reciting and talking to your close friends? Just keep talking, which is their best thing anyway.
Yeah, even in a journaling group or something, find a little group of people, like however that's going to work. But I think it's going to be an interesting year for Geminis.
Guess what, little Cancer? You're coming into the best, because Saturn's going to enter Pisces. Saturn's in water. Cancers are water signs. Cancers love Pisces. So starting Jupiter, so the beginning is not easy for Cancers, because Jupiter, as I said, was going to be in Aries from January to May. That squares Cancer. So you're going to feel like all this energy for Cancers, like, wow, I'm super excited, but I feel like I'm being pressured. And then because people born June 22nd to July 3rd, you're going to have the support of being by Pluto. Here's the deal. I'm going to make this simple without giving you too many dates. First half of the year, Cancer is feeling inspired and having a whole bunch of energy. Then all of a sudden they manifest. And this is us with stars and cards. By April, May, they start to manifest smoothly and easily. And it's like, whoa, dreams are coming true. So it's a very positive year for 2023 for Cancers, because you've got Saturn trining you. You have the end of that Pluto transit that you lived with when he became your boyfriend. Those are just people that are born. Yeah,
That's right.
that's
I
just
made
people
Pluto
born
my boyfriend.
July 27th to someone born July 20th. Those are the only ones that are going to have that Pluto pressure. If you're born in that date, so you've got, what she had to do was make Pluto her boyfriend, and then it became a good friend of hers. And you're going to feel like you have to be conscious about boundaries, because while this opportunity comes with Saturn trining you, like a support system of manifesting, you want to have your boundaries really intact to say, I cannot do that, but I can do this, because there's a lot of energy coming to Cancer 2023 that's very positive. So important for Cancers to know, because that's the life lesson of Saturn and Pisces over the next year. What do I want to do and not do? who do I want in and not in, and sticking to it, because you've got too much going on if you don't know how to minimize and stay focused.
Yeah, which is a big issue for me personally. Well, it's so interesting because the cards are new life. So it's like we're getting let out of jail, Cancerians, co-create. We recognize also that we're in partnership with the divine, in partnership with others, and we're feeling like we're in the flow, and it feels very fated. So whatever it is that you've been hoping to get off the ground, whatever it is that you've been creating, whatever it is that you want to share with other people, whatever it is that you want to contribute for Cancers, you have the capacity to do that this year. Now, one of the things that I want to say, one of the caveats of doing these kind of readings is, even though these are predictive and prescriptive, you still have to do it. If you're going to be an armchair astronaut, you're not going to get anything off the ground, right? If you're just going to sit there hoping that, oh, I saw a video, it's going to all work out. No, it's like you have to set the boundaries, not to get too overwhelmed, because it is going to feel like this is too good to be true. But then you will have that pressure, the Cancerian, at the beginning of the year. If you've said yes to too many things, you may actually have to take things off your plate. I've actually already been feeling that. Yeah, I've actually been looking at my schedule next year going, I think I have to take that off. I don't think
because
I can do
when
that.
Jupiter goes into Taurus, because it's going to happen the second half of the year when it leaves Aries, and Saturn's also, you've got all the support Cancers. You've got support from Saturn trining you, Jupiter's in Taurus supporting you. So you're going to have to be deliberate about what to, because it's
Very
a wonderful, I'm so glad to tell you that Cancers are coming into a wonderful 2023.
I'm ready.
Yeah, it's solidifying. Yes.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Let's move on to Leo.
Well, this is a really big year for Leo. Mars is in Leo from May 21st to July 10th. So I just want you to know this is that whole summer season for Leo is a big one. Then we have Jupiter squaring. Taurus does not like Leo, so that Jupiter transit the second half of the year puts a little bit of pressure on Leo. Then we have, ready for this, Pluto enters Aquarius for the first time in 200 and some years. Pluto's been in Capricorn for the last 12 years, and it's destroyed and changed our idea of government, our idea of what structures are, making us feel unsafe. Well, Pluto's entering Aquarius. This is the first time, and it's going to change the nature of our technology, of our communities, of how we're going to be humanitarians, and it's going to affect early degree Leos. So anyone who's born at the very early degree, you're definitely going to be feeling the effect from July 22nd to July 27th. You early degree Leos are going to go, just like she called Pluto her boyfriend. I love it. Pluto will be visiting you, asking you to rearrange your sense of self. This is what Pluto demands when it goes opposite the Leo sun. And then because Mars is coming in the summer, there's a lot of activity about you. It's less about what is going to be accomplished. Leo, this is a year where you've just had a 2.5 year window where Saturn was opposite Leo, because Saturn was in Aquarius. Well, it's leaving you alone now. And now you've got to say to yourself, you know what? All that pressure from work, you've been working so hard, Leo. Now you've got to keep your eye on, what do I want? And how can I make sure that I stay responsible for boundaries around being worthy of saying, this is what I want, because that's Leo. That's what they do anyways. So it's a really important time to create boundaries with the self around getting what you want and being aware that it's about you and your own evolution. It's less about the work. Your work comes naturally, but it's about you standing inside your job or standing inside your marriage and going, I really feel good about myself. You're going to have to practice that. Because you can't just seek validation from the outer world at this moment. That's what I'm trying to say. It's going to be a little bit of a challenging year for Leo to have to resource from the inside out.
Oh my gosh, I love this, because the center card is between worlds. So it really is about the rearranging. We aren't who we were, and we're not yet who we're going to be. And the rearranging piece, which is where all the action is what's in the center of the Leo story for 2023. So between worlds, it's like, but there's so much support for this. So you have serendipity on one side, and that means that when you are in alignment and willing to say what you genuinely want, then you'll start to align with that in the outer world, but it has to come in here. So that's the between worlds as well. It's like, I got to start in here. Blessed is also flanking it as well too. So there's this kind of a sense of, and again, as long as you keep putting spirit first, it's actualization first, acquisition second, right? So who am I becoming? And And looking at the areas of your life where you haven't been able to say truly what you want because you were too scared. Or you didn't think it was going to happen. Oh, well, that's not going to happen for me. That happened for so-and-so, but not for me. And then also looking at how you invalidate yourself. Also, conversely, how you cling on too much for external validation when you might be a little invisible, or you might have to be temporarily.
I think we're on the same page. The internal resource of you validating yourself is going to be called into focus.
Yeah.
And that will include, it doesn't change the outer world. It's your
Right.
inside going, I'm doing a really good job. I really value myself. I like that quality of resourcing yourself, self-recognition rather than counting on the others. That's what's going to be asked of you this year.
Yeah, that's the blessing. And the other thing too, I just want to add to the Leo piece is that exactly what you said, self-sourcing, which is the blessing comes from when you do this for yourself first instead of waiting for somebody else to do it. But also, we automatically start to align. The outer world doesn't change. We just start to notice the stuff that what we actually genuinely want more actually being available to us. When we're in the worthy pace, it's like, oh, that's there, but I didn't see that before. Where even though everything is always there, it's like the reticular activating system of the brain, it starts to take our eyeballs to look exactly at what you know you want and what you are now in alignment with, rather than like scrambling around going, are you going to validate me outside so I can maybe get what I want? Maybe I'll tell the truth about that, but like blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Virgo.
We love Leos. I just want to say Leo 2023, different than the last 2.5 years that was like seriousness on the outer world with work and demanding. This is now an internal conversation, which is a big deal for Leo.
Can I just throw something else in there? It's a universal year of 7, which is an introspective year for everybody, by the way, a little bit.
That's
Yeah.
so good to know. That's really good to know. Okay. So Virgos, once Saturn enters Pisces, which is the first time in 30 years, it's going to go opposite you over the next 2.5 years. So 2023, 2024, you're going to have some discipline being requested. So you're going to notice that your dreams and your goals are changing and that you're going to have to put the work in, because this is what happened to Leo's the last 2.5 years. You have to work. So don't get complaining when Saturn goes opposite you, saying, oh, I have too much to do. And because that's what Virgos do at their worst. They complain a lot, even though if you tell them, I'll do the work, I'll do the dishes, I'll take you. No, they say. So you have to be willing to let them take the responsibility. And this is what I'm going to say for you. This theme of this year is whistle while you work. Like, give yourself permission to really accept the fact that life is asking you to change it up a little bit. And you have permission to set boundaries. Saturn's in Pisces opposite you, but not at the expense of saying, it's too much. You just got to keep that volume down and choose to whistle, choose to enjoy it. That's going to make all the difference.
Oh, I love that story. So the first card is the observer. So to not take things personally, and right, and it's just like, I'm so busy, I'm so tired, blah, blah, blah. But actually, no, it's saying, that's not the point at all. Step out of this, step back, and like you said, whistle while you work. Message in a bottle. You're going to get prompts and evidence from the world around you that you're on track. Take the risk to have this type of new way of rearranging yourself, because come to the edge is about risk, right? So the Virgo likes to know where everything is beforehand. Like, I want to know what it is. Where's the map? Tell me where's the instructions? And this says, no, there's no instruction manual. You're making one up. Like, there's a new one, and we're going to give it to you in little tiny pieces. And you can't complain, like you said, right? So this is really actually very, very revealing for the year. It follows exactly what you're saying.
If you're born September 13th to 21st, Neptune is opposite you because Neptune's in Pisces as well as Saturn. And to your point, it can make it feel a little bit out of focus. And that's why you might want to get a reading from an astrologer or from a divination card system with Colette's people, because you're going to feel this pressure to change and life is calling you. But you're like, I'm a little confused, those late degree Pisces who are having Neptune tickling them. So if you're feeling vague or like you feel the change, but you can't, because that's a nightmare to a Virgo to feel vague, then you consult a seer who will give you some insight. Okay, this is like so funny. In this new year, Mercury is asking you to be decisive from January to February because Mercury is going to go retrograde. Oh my God, I didn't even tell you this. There's 4 retrogrades this year. There's a lot of retrograde Mercuries, just letting you know. So one of them is happening in January and February, and it's going to affect Libra. So the good news is, while Jupiter's in Aries, the first until May, Libra's opposite Jupiter in Aries. It's expansive. Like Libras are having a wonderful time. You might be confused just in the beginning of the winter. It's time for you to retrain people on how you want to be treated because you leave yourself out. So while Jupiter comes to bless you for this whole first 5 months of this year, it's giving you opportunities. You're going to be very clear about saying yes. And then it's so important that you make a decision. So it's just you know what I always say to Libra, just make the decision. You can revisit it in a month, but don't let indecisiveness or the confusion of your mind not celebrate these incredible opportunities because it only happens once. And because of the eclipse at 21 Libra in October, anyone born October 12th to 18th, you're going to really feel opportunities to change a pattern. So this is an auspicious time for Libra. One, all this opportunity, make a decision. And then two, for those people born, as I described, 12th to 18th, that eclipse says you could change something significant and use the eclipse as a marker. That's what astrologers always suggest. Eclipses, when they hit your exact planets and your sun sign, you get a chance to go, and from now on, I'm going to fill in the blank.
That's great. So knowing your why is going to be really important too. So to make the decision, but know your why. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I deciding this? Like, why do I want this? What do I think am I going to get on the other end of this? It's like being very clear with yourself about your choices, but you have
So
to
you're
make
not the
choices.
pleaser because that's the victim.
Correct.
That's the victim of the Libra. I'm doing this because you want me to. No. Ask yourself, do
No.
I want to do this?
Right. Why am I doing this? Am I doing this to please you? That's got to go. The right use of imagination is also going to be really much in alignment with Libras this year. When you use that, you can actually find that sense of peace because you've made the choice for that. And I can tell you this, I'm sure any Libra that is trauma bonding or that is in inappropriate, relationship patterns and people pleasing, etc., you don't feel peaceful. There's an undercurrent of, am I not getting it right? I'm not getting it right. And this year you get a chance to get it right. You have the opportunity to get it right. But it also brings you, I think, a lot greater sense of creativity when you're not putting so much energy into that other kind of story. So the decisive quality is, I want to feel more peaceful. I want to feel more creative. I want greater access to my inspiration. Therefore, I'm going to choose me.
Exactly. If a Libra learned, I always think it's so funny. Like, look, it's right behind me, that the bump goes up. It's not, it's so, it's a horizontal. Libras are all about others and relationship and art and beauty. But the hump is saying, put your attention on you. Go upward to establish your values. Don't get so distracted by what people want of you. And if a Libra did that this year and used that eclipse to say, I am going to make myself clearly answer this question. What do I want?
Right.
And that simple question for a Libra, which is a nightmare for every Libra, because they're like, I don't know, what do you want? When they start to put what I want in, that is a game changer. And that should be this year with this eclipse, that Libras put their attention on themselves. May to December, this is the second half of the year, Jupiter is going to be in Taurus, opposite Scorpio, bringing so many blessings. So Jupiter in the first half of the year celebrates Aries and Libras. The second half of the year, it celebrates Taurus and Scorpio. So Scorpio is coming into that yummy, delicious saying, especially people born between October 21st to November 11th. They're going to really feel this opportunity come. There's an old saying, say what you mean what you say, but don't say it mean. I like that. So it's time for you to get, because there's a lunar eclipse on May 5th at 14 degrees Scorpio. So it's being felt by anyone born November 11th to 17th. And there is a partial eclipse again in your flavor for those born on October 26th to November 1st, which means, Scorpio, you can be mean. And Jupiter's coming to give you energy. It's not mean, it's like controlling. And this is definitely 2023 is a real, because Saturn's going to trine you, Saturn in Pisces trine Scorpio, and then Jupiter opposite giving you this wonderful abundance. You want to pay attention to, how do I deal with my power? Like, do I have the gentleness? Do I know how to do, and I'm so interested to hear the cards. Do I know how to move a lot of energy without running someone over? And then, do I know how to not be pushy, Scorpio, and controlling at the expense of what my partner wanted, because I'm feeling so energetic, because you've got a really positive year, Scorpio. So I'd love to hear, Colette, what the cards are.
Well, it's more than interesting, because soulmates is about the balance of power between two people where it's shared. So this is a lesson for Scorpios this year, is to bring tenderness, compassion, love, and less ego, right? There's less ego around this, and less fear, right? Because a lot of the control comes from fear.
That's all
I'm not going to have,
controllers.
right? I'm not, wow. So all that glitters is interesting because at first there could be, or part of the year, you could get a little high from how good things are, right?
That's
It's like, oh, I
that's the
love all
second
this.
half of the year. Oh my God, they're in
Yeah.
such a wonderful cycle.
But it's not. It's like it enables you to be more and more isolated when you get more controlling or mean, the way you said
Exactly.
it. So that's why it's called all that glitters, right? Which is not gold. So, but if you are committed to community, committed to that being your own soulmate, you don't need to do that, and trusting that spirit has your back. That's the other thing. Like, I'm in partnership with the divine. Wait a second. Now I can relinquish control and still really revel in this good fortune, if you will, and I can share it as opposed to own it. Own it and dole
Yes.
it out. There's a
Yes.
difference. Mhm.
I love that. Mercury goes retrograde from August 24th to September 16th in Scorpio. So you guys just pay attention come the fall that you're going to be asked to review, did I push too hard? Did I it's a real chance to be humbled. That's a really good part of
Yeah,
the
humility.
Scorpio. Humility is the
Mhm.
medicine that will serve the Scorpio saying, yeah, I'm controlling. Yeah, I'm bossy. Sorry. And as soon as they say it, it diminishes the charge. I just want to say, Scorpio, you're going to have, especially October 21st, November 3rd, you've got Saturn trining your sun for the next 2.5 years. So you're going to be manifesting. You just want to be kind while you do it. Okay, Sagittarius. So there's a Mars return in November. This is all the way to the end of next year. You're going to have Sagittarius have a very powerful possibility of, ready? Discipline. Because Saturn's going to be squaring them. Sagittarius gets squared by Pisces. They don't get along, so you're going to go through the square. There's a Mars return coming in November. And then there's people who are born December 13th to 20th. They have Neptune squaring them. I want to say to Sag, you get so overly enthusiastic and you get so ambitious, and this is not a year for that. This is because that Mars return, especially the end of the year. At the end of the year, you can get all energetic, but because Saturn's squaring you and Jupiter's going to be in Taurus the second half of the year, as distinct from Aries, the first half, which is going to support you, you're going to have all the first half of the year, so many ideas. And this is what happens to Sag. They get too many ideas, they get too enthusiastic, and then they don't follow through. And that second half of the year is going to really create the feeling like, I should have made more organization. So I would say for your New Year resolution, Sag, make a promise you'll follow through. Like, take less giant goals and focus on smaller things that can be managed, rather than getting super excited about everything. Go,
This is
Colette.
so good. So, of course, the first card is clean it up, right? So you have to choose to get organized and take things in small bites. This is 100% in alignment with what you just said. And also, it's the time to go card is next. It's like you might have to say no because you've said yes to too many things and you've gotten too enthusiastic. And like you said, there's no follow through. It's just like everything is so great, right? But then you sabotage yourself as a result of that. Being flexible and resilient in the second half of the year is going to be a skill you have to develop because, like Deb said, if you weren't aware of all of this, you might have kind of gone like a train out of control, wanting to stop at every stop and have a party at every one of them. And you might be really exhausted by that behavior. And we want to make sure that you can be flexible with yourself too, and allow yourself to have made mistakes and give yourself a hall pass, basically. Because you can restructure this the second half of the year if you want to, but it's better if you start the year with that in place,
goal.
so you won't have to do that.
And I'm going to add, it's about family issues. One of the ways that
Interesting.
Sagittarius will see it, where it will show up, is you're too nice and too much. You got to back up and let people make mistakes. Like, stop, you got to pull your energy in just a little bit. It's not easy for Sag. And use the mantra, I trust you. Just start practicing trusting other people, because that's going to make a big difference.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
A little bit of wisdom there. Okay, so this is great because Capricorns, they had such a hard time during COVID. It was such a difficult era. And it was really difficult for Capricorns because Jupiter was squaring them and Saturn was in Capricorn and Pluto was in Capricorn. That's not true. Now, Jupiter's going to trine you when it's in Taurus. It's going to be very supportive the second half of the year. And because Saturn's going into Pisces, you're going to love it. Pisces gets along great with Capricorn. Manifestation, dreaming, follow through. So you've got a wonderful, it's a great time if you need to let go of your job or do a dream business that you've been holding on to, because of course that's Capricorn's thing. This is the year where it's so much easier than it has been. You're out of the bad era and you're out of the detachment. You're ready to manifest. So it's a really, I would say, Saturn trining you, Jupiter trining you, having the energy of Capricorn not feeling so oppressed. It's like a deep breath. So you're in a positive, beneficial year.
So your intuition is also really good this year. Deep knowing is the first card that I got, and you don't have to rush or push. So TikTok is the second card that represents the capacity to work with time, that time is on your side, that you might have felt oppressed over the past 2.5, maybe 3 years, because we've had so much sustained uncertainty, and you had no control over where anything was heading. But now you have tangibility at your fingertips, right? So things are, you are actualizing things. It's like, oh, all this that I've been working towards is now starting to be real. But there's no rush to I better get it done before all the other stuff comes back, because there is no return to the past or to return to that kind of pressure. It feels very much to the sea. It feels much more fluid. If you could use that word for a Capricorn, it feels that your ambition is very fluid. It isn't time constrained, and it feels that your intuition is also very on point in 2023.
That's because they're getting so supported by Neptune's in Pisces, Saturn's in Pisces supporting Capricorn. It's earth and water. So they're having a lot of more intuitive grounding insights that will allow them to create this new dream place. And of course, Pluto's going to finish with you. Anyone that's born the very last 2-3 days of Capricorn, you've got Pluto having its very last time with you to say just exactly this. Flow. Why can't Capricorn use their intuition? Inside every sign is its opposite sign. So Capricorn has a Cancer inside of it. So this is exactly what you're speaking to. Intuition as part of your dream material. And to have your ambition be patient right now. Patient, it's coming.
Yeah, the TikTok. Yeah, patience.
Yeah, just let it be. It's a great year for Capricorn as long as you're not feeling like you want to start the whole thing right at the beginning. You want to pace yourself. Yes. Okay, so Aquarius, we're on to Aquarius. I always think of your parents when I think of Aquarius. It's funny. So those people born January 18th to 24th, this is not an easy year for you. Pluto is going to hit you on the head. It's early degree Aquarius. It's just going to start from March to June. Pluto is going to be sitting on you, and you early degree Aquarians have to ask yourself, what is happening right now? Because this is what happens when Pluto comes to visit. It's like, wait, I feel uncomfortable. And warning, said the astrologer and the card reader, the famous one and only Colette, warning, be careful. After 2.5 years of Saturn being on you, it just finishes in January, the pressure's not on, is for the rest of you. That was for just the very, very early degree Aquarius I was talking about. But for the rest of you Aquarians, you're out of that difficult era. You had a long 2.5 years of life saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? So now, with Jupiter in Aries for the first 6 months or till May, first 5 months, you're going to feel like out of jail card. Like, oh my God, I'm not being oppressed. I've got some energy. I feel much freer. There's not that constraint or the expectations. And it's time for you to reinvent yourself. When Jupiter goes into Taurus in May, it's going to square you, and you're going to feel like, oh, I'm not being oppressed, but now I can do what I want to do. It's not based on should or job description or expectations. It's now that you're out of jail, you're looking around going, well, what do I want to do? And by spring, you're going to feel the momentum that is going to be determined by your exotic, weird taste buds, which only you have.
Oh, wow. So, okay, so I have three really interesting cards. I have Never Ending Story, Not for You, and Chaos and Conflict for the Aquarius. So, this is about refusing to be a victim. So, even, you may have felt that sense of oppression over the past 2.5, 3 years. I mean, it's been hard, like you said,
Of
Saturn
work. They've been working.
and working really hard also on yourself. But this is about refusing to tell the same story, right? This is it. Oh
Break
my
the
God, I'm
pattern.
out of jail. I don't have to say that about myself anymore. And then it's like, oh, who am I then? If without this whole tale of woe that I had and all these repetitive patterns that kept coming out, and recognizing when, things were either taken away from me or I made choices that now I regret. There's all of this on the table right now for Aquarius. But the best part is that when you get the chaos and conflict card like this, it is all about change for the better. It's like, I don't need to do this. We have a really good opportunity to say, I am ready to change. It's like, I'm good. I'm really good. I feel liberated. So that there is a sense of chaos when we are liberated because it's divine chaos. It's like, oh, I can mix things up a little bit now and ask myself, what do I really want? Like now that I feel like I'm, that out of jail sense, and I don't have the old story I'm telling anymore. Well, what's my new story? What is
And
the
it
new
does, yeah.
story?
And you know what? Aquarius likes chaos.
Yeah, it's
I
Uranus,
mean,
right? You say
yes,
Uranus, I say Uranus. But
yes.
yeah, it's ruled by innovation, chaos, etc., and it's natural.
So it's comfortable to them. Yeah. So you guys are allowed to say, I don't want to do that. I changed my mind. This is a year 2023. You were like, you did so much work. You're finally like, forget it. Permission to be a little bad, Aquarius. Like you're back to your old ways. You don't have that oppressive Saturn sitting on your head.
It feels good though for Aquarius. It feels very liberating. It's a sense of
Yes.
and an innovative moment that lasts a whole year.
I love that. Can you imagine if you're an
Yeah.
Aquarian, it would last a whole year? Okay. And
Yeah.
last but not least, here we go. If you were born in 1964, if you're born in 1994, you're in Saturn return. Saturn just entered Pisces. It started in January. It's going to last for 2.5 years. You are going to feel what Aquarius felt for the last 2.5 years, which is a request for you to work, to get yourself focused, to learn what your destiny is, and to get the job. So you're looking now to figure out what you're doing next. You're reaching out, Pisces, to looking around the world. It's not an easy thing for Pisces. They don't like to make decisions. So you got to get your boundaries really clear. Like, is it doing less drugs? Is it doing less alcohol? Is it doing less distractions? Is it doing less video? Is it doing less social media? You tell me, because Saturn's going to say to you, you must restrict and contract just a little bit. At Pisces, worst thing. But that's what happens when Saturn goes through a sign. So please don't. You now need consistency and boundaries. It's your worst thing. But if you take advantage of this year by saying at the very beginning, oh, I understand that Saturn's in Pisces, first time in 30 years. Saturn is the old man of the zodiac. He's very serious. I think of him as an old woman. And I think of him as a high school principal. So she comes into the room and she goes, Pisces, what are you doing with your life? And you're like, I hate that question. And then you say, oh, no, 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 no. You need a list. I want you to get a list out. I want you to tell me. And if you need some vocational direction, there's people that will help you. But you cannot continue to be vague over the next 2.5 years. Just
Oh, I
saying.
love this. So the first card for Pisces is chop wood. Chop wood, carry water, right? It's like
Exactly.
this year is about work. It's about your actual job. It's about the work on yourself. It's about commitment and steadiness. That's the other thing. So you bring all that water in right into a place where I gotta focus now. Okay, and you're right. It wants to keep running away. I don't like this. No, 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 no. You got to come back down. And if you are loyal to your own process of evolution, because loyal heart is the next one, and really remember, what do I love? Where is my bliss? What am I willing to contribute in service to that?
Oh, that's
And
so profound.
right? And can I stay in the here and now and not get too screwy about what's coming around the corner?
So anyone going through Saturn return, you have got to drop into the here and now because you're letting
Yeah,
go of a whole era behind you.
yeah.
So all you
It's beautiful.
28-year-olds and all you 58 years old, that was the end of an era. And now you're walking into here and now, here and now, here and now, because I can't quite see, but I am willing to be disciplined. Well, I'm going to suggest that to you. And that's really important, Pisces, because the late degree Pisces who have Neptune coming over them and Saturn's over them, and then Jupiter and Taurus comes to get them the second half of the year, it's going to feel like I can't tell if I'm having fun or I'm miserable. Like it's going to be a little confusing. Like, I think change is here and I love this. I think I don't like it. I think I do like it. So it's a little confusing.
You know what it reminds me of too, when I look at this and I hear you, I think for the Pisces, if you were in a car and it was super foggy out and you had your lights on and it was nighttime, that's as far as you get to go, right? It's like, and your map keeps changing on your special GPS. And then you get these little prizes, ding, when you overcome something and you realize, oh, that's what I really need. Oh, that's what I'm here to contribute. Oh, right. And that's basically it. And then all of a sudden, bazoo, there's like,
And that will be
there's this-
and that's the end of the 2.5 year cycle. Yes. So Pisces, please don't misinterpret. I'm going to talk about, I want to give the list of the 4 times this year that
Sure.
Mercury's going retrograde. I want to just give you the dates to write down, because for you, Pisces, when there's a retrograde Mercury and you're in Saturn return, it amplifies the desire for you to stop, look at the GPS. It's cloudy out, but I'm in the here and now. If you can just use the mantra of here and now, Pisces, for the next 2.5 years, where everything is asking for you to be in this change motion, but you can't figure it out. And then you go, oh, wait a minute, I just have to deal with here and now.
Right, right. And we'll come back again for another video for some of the Mercury retrogrades to really,
Well, let me
drill
just
down on
note
what they
them.
are.
I would just,
Yeah,
just
let's
super
note
fast.
them first.
Okay, here we go. Right in the beginning of the year, December 29th to January 18th in Capricorn is our first one. The second one is April 21st to May 14th. That's in Taurus. Then August 23rd to September 15th is in Virgo. And then the very end of the year, that's why there's 4 of them, December 13th to January 1st, 2024 is in Sagittarius. So it's great to write them down, because if you know they're coming and you've got them on your calendar, which is what I do every month, I write them at the top of my calendar, then you know, like if I'm traveling, oh, a little more generosity. Don't get caught in that stupid story. Or if you're starting a business, you go, uh-oh, Mercury, why don't we just move it up a week? Or a launch for us. Like, uh-oh, I know where the retrogrades are. I put them on my calendar. Great information.
We actually do ours in the Mercury retrograde on purpose.
Yeah, you said
because,
that.
well, it's because it's a great time to reassess where you are and to really kind of make the decision to recalibrate and revisit the things that may not be working for you, or revisit the dreams that you said you wanted but you might not have stepped into. So that's one of the reasons why we do our big events right in the retrograde. We actually look for them to put them in.
I love that. I love that. It's hard on the technologies, what I've noticed.
Yeah, we know that, but we have.
But you're right. For the people making a decision, it's great to have Mercury retro, because it slows you down, and it's reflection time.
And we triple down on our tech people.
Yes,
we know
just
what
make sure.
could go wrong, and we're ready.
That's so wise. It's so wise. That's the right answer to Mercury retrograde. Please, let's rewrite that. I love that, Colette. Permission to stop, reflect, and go in to make decisions that really matter.
And this is a year, I mentioned this just briefly during our conversation about in numerology, this is a universal year of 7, which is a year of introspection. 7 is not a social number so much. It's all about what can I learn.
From the heavens to the earth. It comes up from the up to the down. So it takes you
higher
in.
wisdom coming down. Exactly. So what can we learn? How can we apply this? This is all about higher truths, higher knowledge, and stepping back. So we noticed that a lot of times during this whole conversation, you talked about boundaries with at least 7 or 8 of the
Because Saturn's in Pisces. That's right.
We need boundaries.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
The issue is knowing, especially in the name of our schools, knowing that it's time to go in a 7-year and do the reflection and take the boundary to say to others, you know what? I really matter, because my evolution is so important that if I don't do the studying and the self-reflection, I get so distracted by the outer world. Oh my God.
Yep.
And that's
Perfect
what a
time to
7-year
take
is.
class.
Come in. Yeah, come study with us.
Come to study with us. Exactly. Deb, this was so much fun. I loved it.
I did too, and you make it so easy because our cards are always matched. So funny how that works.
They match, right? It's like you can't make this up at all. It's just, it
No.
really is uncanny. I'm not in shock, but I'm always like, see, this is wild. Look at this. And it does give us, I mean, isn't it true though? We get the map of the stars and we need help to navigate that. Because just because the stars are there doesn't mean we're going to do our best with it, for example, or there's there are all your planets over your
They're
head.
above my head.
So this is really great information. Thank you so much. We're going to, Debra is debrasilvermanastrology.com. Lots of goodies there, and there'll be links
And
for you
there's
to see all
videos
kinds
every
of things.
day that come out that tell you where the moon is. We left that out entirely because it moves so quick. So the moon
Yes.
moves in a month. Woo, woo. But if you want
Yeah.
to know the weather report of the day, you just check out my
That's
videos
right.
on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and
Everywhere, wherever it is. Anyway, thank you so much for starting the year together with me and Deb Silverman. Stars and Cards is what we just did. Thank you all. Mwah. Love you.
Thank you, Colette. Love, love, love.